The Wandering Tavern is 15 layers of corruption, gambling, exotic restaurants, hotels, expansive workstations, and buzzing accommodations. Amongst these are 23 unique locations that range from lavish establishments down to the city's seedy underbelly. I've got detailed battle maps of the entire floating metropolis. As the sun sets, shadowy forms seep from dark corners to materialise throughout the Wandering Tavern. Luckily, I was able to collect scathing testimonies from over 30 NPC patrons and staff, and even the lingering spirits of the deceased. The Wandering Tavern, available now at hatdebuilder.com.
Hi, my name's Yasmin and I'm the DM.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, a goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I play Otto, a spring sage from Hanweir sworn to the land, wandering the plain and setting wrongs to right with Zersine companion Bojo.
Crawled out of the crypt could only be described as the most awful abomination. An undead creature crafted from the long-expired carcasses of the occupants held within the crypt. Its significant size would present a problem far bigger than our three companions had bargained for. Esther elected to swing her sword in scathing fashion, and Otto, now optimised with extra arms, waded into the fray, repeatedly slashing at it with sharp claws. Elora's bat flew into the battle, searing it with a scorching ray, whilst she let loose with some lightning bolts to liven up the bony blighter. Its magical resistance marginally hampered our hero's efforts, but ultimately their relentless onslaught was its undoing. Episode 157, Crypts and Curses.
Last session, what happened? You finished off fighting this giant hound-like being. So, we'll start with Ogvar.
Hello.
Ogvar. You stayed back at the ship and agreed to basically try and fix up one of these big kind of winches, which you assume would have held small rafts or lifeboats even, and been able to drop them over the side of the ship. The state that they are in severe disrepair. They are broken, and out of what you would say, probably maybe 4 of these, only one of them remains in any condition where you can possibly repair it. As Esther, Otto and Elora make their way off, after dropping off their supplies, which they've gathered from the tavern, Whistlemeyer's, the harbour masters and the craft quarter, as well as what Esther has pillaged from the church, you begin to fix up this winch system. It's something that you'd be quite familiar with. Your father being a stonemason, you'd have seen similar systems where he lifted big heavy rocks using this same kind of pulley lever system. So you are quite easily able to set to work fixing up the winch. After 20 minutes of work, you would say, you've got the lift back in a really good shape. It seems to be working, it's operational. You've used obviously the resources you've got on the ship's deck, you've used some of the rope, and you've managed to get a lovely little system together where you can spread a net out across the pier, pull the stuff onto it, tie it all back up, and then begin to turn the winch handle and raise the cargo up the side of the ship. Paul has been with you for part of this. He pops his head in occasionally. Would you like a cup of tea? Or coffee? As he offers you refreshment and support throughout the process. And he does quite comment on your work a couple of times. You're not quite sure whether he's being sarcastic or not. He's a ghost and he doesn't really seem to have a variation in tone, really. So, you are standing back on the deck admiring your work. You have just lifted the first load of lumber up the side of the ship. And although it creaks ominously, you've lifted it up and swung the winch across, and you have a pile of timber. Scraps of wood, this big door which Otto found. And yeah, you've got it onto deck. And it's really only at this point where... Make me a listen check, please.
No. Ooh, rolling dice. Okay. That'll be a 6 plus a 12, which will make an 18.
Yeah, absolutely. As the wind direction changes slightly and starts almost blowing in from the opposite coast, rather than this onshore breeze, the wind has changed direction. It's now blowing from where you've got the boat in the harbour, you've got this big kind of this jut of land, and then a more shallow kind of curve on the other side, which is where the sea graph is. You feel the wind change direction, you hear the sails billow, you see the fabric flap as the wind catches from a different orientation, and on the breeze you hear the sounds of battle. Assuming you are probably going to go and try and help your companions at this point, as that's what you're doing.
Okay, yeah.
You climb down the ladder, and you hoft it across the town towards the graveyard.
Okay.
Otto, Elora and Esther, in the graveyard, have just committed the final blow to this being in front of you, this tall, hulking, grotesque figure. As it collapses down to the ground, and you look over this corpse, which is slowly starting to decay, you can see the bonds that were holding the bones together, the strings, the ties, the metal pins, begin to fall apart, and this hulking being begins to lose its form and structure as you see bones and skulls popping out and rolling down until it turns into essentially a pile of mangled parts. As you stand there watching that happen, Ogvar, you make it to the graveyard. And you see this happen. You see this giant hulking figure easily standing. I mean, at this point, Otto is also a ogre. Is it an ogre?
A four-armed troll. A
four-armed troll. You see a giant four-armed troll with perhaps a stringy set of hair, which you recognise as Otto's. You see Esther and you see Elora stood there, and you see this creature just as it collapses down. And this hound, it's clearly in the form of a dog. It was massive. It was bigger than Otto in his troll form, and it made of bones and skeletons and bodies. And you see this happen in front of you. What are you all doing?
I think Otto, being slightly hurt and definitely want to make sure this thing doesn't get back up, is going to start randomly throwing bones from this pile pretty much everywhere, so that two of them don't end up within 6 inches of each other.
Scattered.
Yeah,
It might take him a little while. He'll be busy for a bit, but he's doing it.
Yeah, you get dug in. I mean, you are scooping up. You've got 4 arms. They're all scooping up skeletons, and one's throwing it that way, one's throwing it the other way, another one's underarming it across the graveyard. Yeah, you begin to scatter the bones.
Is Elora having to duck any of these?
Probably anyone within 150 feet is having to duck these things.
Yeah.
Which might include the Ogvar as it appears.
Yeah. I mean, these bones weren't clean either. Some of them had sinew left on them, so there was a high chance that there was going to be sinew and bits of decaying flesh being chucked around as well and flying off in random directions. So yeah, you'll have to duck, yeah, but there's a high chance you're getting splattered at some point.
Oh, watch where you're putting those things. Stop throwing them like that. Oh, that just missed me. Esther, tell him.
Oh, yes, dearie.
I think he's going to ignore you.
Okay.
Ogvar looks at them flying across. Oh, just looks so bad. Oh, we got an idea. Otto gets his bow out, knocks it. Pull. How's it going, clay pigeon shooting?
Throw one out in the air. Try and get a skull up there for you to poke one through the eyes. Yeah.
I think at this point,
that's a header.
If he's trying to clay pigeon some of these flying bones for target practice, I think at this point Elora would probably notice Ogvar and go, "Oh, hey Ogvar, are you all right? How's it going? Look, we bit off more than we could chew here. This thing is disgusting.
It looks like you coped okay.
Yeah, but it's not the only one. We killed some other things before it, but I think we might have got them. But I think we might have to go and check in the crypt, maybe."
Okay. What was it?
I don't know. It's
big.
Yeah.
It was really, really big.
It was like bones and it was just bones and just I don't know.
I see. Sounds rather unpleasant.
It was more than unpleasant. It's disgusting.
Seem to have it all in hand.
I can't remember whether Elora did this previously, to be honest. It was last session, but she is going to dismiss the shoal of fish the shoal of piranhas that are merrily swimming away in a very large cylinder.
Yeah, you can get rid
which
of
Ogvar wouldn't have previously seen.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is like a fish, like a giant fish bowl is probably the best way to describe it, with a shit ton of spectral piranhas.
Okay.
I did that. I've never done that before. It's amazing. Look at it. It was very effective.
Yes, I can imagine.
She's going to wave her hand and just dismiss it.
Yeah.
In a generous sweep of her hand towards the cylinder of fish. She's just going to dismiss it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can dismiss that, and yeah, your Pirhanado disappears.
You've been practicing that, yes. I can tell.
Wonderful.
That's a bathroom mirror job, that is.
Wonderful.
Okay, yeah, so you dismiss that, your spectral piranhas disappear and fade away. You can see the grass is disturbed, almost kind of this crop circle-esque kind of spiralling circle motion. But aside from that, there isn't, there's nothing else to see there.
I think Elora would look at the remains of that and actually be quite impressed. She'd be impressed at this grass circle that she's got in the graveyard or whatever it is.
I'd have been a lot more impressed if you'd managed to hit the big thing with it rather than just the little things.
Well, I had a go.
And it had a go, and I had a go, and then it had a go, and then I nearly fell over.
Oh, you just carry on moving your bones and stop whining. Esther?
Oh, yes, dearie.
I think we'd better go and check out this crypt. Hopefully it's not very big.
Oh,
just...
Yes, dearie, are we ready? Are you coming, Ogvar?
Well, I suppose so, and now I'm here. Lead on. I don't know what's going on, really. It's all very confusing.
Come on, Captain. Let's get you down this crypt.
It feels like, although I've only been gone about half an hour, it feels like I've been gone for weeks.
Esther pats you on the shoulder as you say that. Oh dear, time does fly, doesn't it?
Right. Elora's going to tentatively go to the edge of the crypt, and she's going to... I don't know, what is she going to do? Hang on a minute. Right, she's going to cast light and place it into the entrance of the crypt so that she can see quite a lot.
Okay. Right.
She's going to peer in. What can she see?
Okay. So as you light, cast the spell light, and you obviously form this light. I'm struggling here. As you cast the spell and illuminate the area, this crypt has got quite a wide entrance. It's not got a door, but it's got quite a wide entrance. You can see illuminated a set of cracked and worn stone steps leading down into a crypt. You can see spaces where bodies would have been laying. You can see, and clearly this front part you can see probably about 10 bays almost where bodies would be interred. You can see a door ahead of you at the base, which is just a doorway. It's not actually a door in itself, but it clearly leads down further. But you would say that these spaces at the beginning would be for more honoured people. So the head of the family, wife, direct descendants, and perhaps further down would be older bodies where they've been moved to make way for new ones, or people who are less revered or respected within the family. But you can see... Make me a wisdom check, please. Straight wisdom. And that's...
Straight wisdom
check, and Ogvar as well, please.
Oh, okay.
Straight wisdom check. Sorry, I'm just catching up now. That's going to be crap, isn't it? Because I've got a -1 to wisdom. Oh, actually, that's an 18 -1, which is still a 17.
Yeah, Ogvar rolled a 4 with a +1, so it's a 5.
Woo!
Fine.
Get in.
Okay, Elora. From
Yes.
where you sheltered in the church, upon your first assault of Saltstone, you remember seeing a sigil. The same sigil which is reflected within this crypt. And it is the symbol of what you can only assume to be the Lord of Saltstone. It is formed of a very kind of traditional quadrant style. In one corner there is what appears to be a unicorn, the other corner opposite it a dragon, and then in the two other corners you can see a holly leaf and also a hourglass.
Okay.
And you clearly remember this is obviously heraldry. This is obviously heraldry, and judging by it, you could say this is probably the Saltstone Lord's heraldry.
Okay.
And it is in this traditional kind of shield shape as well.
Shield shaped.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she would probably point that out. Ooh, Esther, I saw this in the church. Look at this.
Oh, yes, dearie.
It looks like heraldry, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
You think that might be the Lord's?
Almost
Well,
certainly.
Whoever was the Lord of the... Yeah.
Almost certainly, dearie.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where is that etched, sorry?
So it's etched. So when you walk in, you can see these stairs lead down, the doorway opposite, and you can see this symbol etched above the doorway.
Oh, above. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I guess we just proceed. So Elora will gradually go down what she would assume to be very dusty steps by now, because it's been 50 odd years since the town's been inhabited, hasn't it? 50, 60 years, something like that. So she's going to make her way down the steps slowly. I don't think she would necessarily expect there to be something down there, but she's not quite sure because of what previously came out. So she'll just make her way down slowly, I think, towards the door at the end, past the... I think she would clock the bays either side, just give them a cursory glance to make sure nothing is still moving as such.
Okay.
And then make her way to the door.
Ogvar and Elora, please make me a spot check.
Ew. That's a 12 plus a 7 for a 19 for Elora.
I've rolled an 8 plus an 11 for a 19.
So what was that, sorry, Laura?
What did I just say? 12 plus 7, that's a 19 as well.
So 2 19s, okay.
Yeah.
As you begin to make your way down the steps, illuminated by your light, you can see that the floor is coated in a slick layer of blood. The steps are dripped with it. The floor is coated in this blood. Some of it is fresh, some of it is old. You can tell that some of it is clearly dried up. As you enter and you get onto the flat, you look at these 10 bays on either side of the room. So this is wide. The staircase is wide, clearly meant for a funeral procession to walk down and inter the body. But as you reach the bottom floor, you look to your left and you look to your right, and there are five places for a body to rest on each side. In this kind of 2 on the bottom, 2 in the middle, 1 at the top in the middle. That kind of layout, essentially. You can see from every single one of these slots, these areas, blood it looks like blood has run down off the edge and dripped down. You can see congealed pools of it at the base of the walls, and every single bit, every single bay looks like this. Even on the bottom, it looks like something has been dragged off, like a hunk of raw, bloody meat has been dragged over the edge. And they are all empty. You can see what is clearly supposed to be funeral wrappings and clothing discarded here and there, and almost looks like it's been shredded off the corpse.
She's gonna turn to Obvar and just go, ooh, this looks nasty.
It's not the most pleasant of sights to greet you, is it, as you come down?
But you wished you stayed on the ship there.
Well, it's either here or on the boat with Paul, so it's sort of 50-50.
Well, that's not very nice. And at that, she'll just continue to make her way forward, I think.
Okay.
And when she cast light, it would still be, she'd cast it out onto her fingertips so it travels with her.
Okay. So, you continue forwards. You go through the doorway.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. She'd reach out and either push it or pull it, whichever
There's
it would go.
so it's just a doorway. There's no door. It's just.
Oh, I see.
an
No
arch.
door. Okay.
Yeah.
Through. Okay. Doorway arch. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Yes, I would go through.
Okay. So you walk through, and you enter what appears to be a hewn tunnel. You can clearly see score marks. You can see where it's been dug out. And you continue down. As you continue down, you travel perhaps another 10 minutes in this tunnel. This tunnel is quite wide as well. And you can see slots again in the wall where bodies have been interred. Think Skyrim. It's exactly like when you go through one of the barrows. You can see slots where bodies have been interred. Nothing jumps out at you during this whole process, and it eventually comes into this large round room, which again has got lots and lots more of these bays. All of them have this same kind of drag marks. They have the same kind of look as if something's been dragged out of there. There's blood all over the place. There's dried blood, but in this round room in particular, you can see clear marks that this might have been where this creature that you've just slain was residing or dwelling during the daylight hours. There aren't things like bones where it appears to be eaten. This thing clearly didn't need to eat. But you can see layers of straw which have got the clear impression of this creature having laid down. But you don't find anything of any particular note.
Okay. She's going to turn to the others. I assume Esther and Otto are behind, are they?
Yeah, Esther and Otto, Ogvar. Is it Ogvar or Otto?
Otto was behind with Esther throwing bones around. I think if they're going to be gone for that length of time, I think we probably would look to each other and probably try to make our way within, because we don't want to be losing them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You can follow them down. And eventually, I mean, Otto and Esther will see the light echoing up the tunnel. You'll be able to catch up with them easily. And yeah, you're all stood in the middle of this room.
Well, this appears to be where it's been hanging out.
This looks like a den, or it's obviously made a bed here. I mean, I only saw it in bits. What was it when it was a thing?
Big and bony. Bits of
Very
sinew.
large dog.
Yeah, it was dog-like, but
Okay.
huge. Yeah. Not exactly a keeper, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Well, I suppose if it sounds like it, it might have been resting here. I wonder how long it's been down here.
Well, some of the blood's
anyone-
fresh.
Yes, I was about to say, did anyone notice that?
Yeah, did you see that as you came through as well?
Well, I noticed it when it started sticking to my feet, but
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Trolls aren't known for wearing boots, last I checked.
well, I don't suppose there's anything else around here. We've done a search check. There is nothing else to find down here, is there?
Not that you're aware of, no. So this is simply, it looks like the bodies have been dragged out of this tomb. Clearly something has disrupted their rest, it's dragged them out. And yeah, this blood, so I will say this isn't like pools and streaks of fresh blood. You could very, very easily infer that this blood has come off this creature. It's come off this creature's body as it's walked, because this blood was dripping off of it. It was this kind of this thick, sticky looking blood.
Ica.
Yes, exactly. So you could probably very easily tell that this blood you can see is from the creature.
So, as we've gone through, are the bodies that were in the slots, presumably in the slots, still? Could we see that they were still in there? Or
No,
were missing?
they were gone. All of them were gone.
Empty.
Okay.
Would we know from our knowledge of the local sort of religious sects, what sort of burial practices there might be? Would they have been buried with grave goods and things like that?
So this is a question you can very easily ask Esther, if you wanted a bit more information yourself. Esther will tell you, oh well, dearie, the local burial practices are generally to tend to the body, wrap it, and then pop it in the hole, essentially. Some families tend to leave goods with them. Some, depending on what they personally believe, some people leave coins, some people leave herbs, some leave toys or cherished items. It's very personal to the person and their family. But people don't tend to be buried with a lot of wealth per se, simply because there isn't a lot of wealth around, and if they're wealthy enough to be buried with a lot of wealth, they generally tend to have offsprings to continue their family line. So I wouldn't say it's very common to have lots and lots of items, perhaps maybe a necklace or a cherished piece of jewellery, but no, not piles of gems or anything of the such.
Well, I'm certainly not going to start looking through these holes because, well, they aren't mine and I'm not taking them, and I don't care whether the occupants are there or not. I think we should just seal this thing back up.
Well, where did the thing come from, though? It's like, did it manifest itself, or did somebody manifest it?
I'm not sure. Obviously something dark has happened to it, some kind of dark influence, but it looks like that the bones that it was made of were probably made up of the occupants that were in here, I'm going to guess.
Yes, but they don't just assemble themselves. Surely somebody's got to have... Someone or something must have given them a helping hand.
Or maybe it's something to do with Vero. I mean, he was, like, wizard or whatever, wasn't he? He's definitely from the darker side. Maybe this is his doing.
Could well be. Is there any residual magic hanging around here, Elora? Can you tell?
I can try. Elora will take a walk around the perimeter of this circular room, and she's going to make an Arcana check. See if she can pick up any kind of residual energy. See if she can pick up anything arcane from within the room.
Okay.
Bearing in mind that Vera was a wizard, he would have been an arcane.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have been into necromancy, but it would have been an arcane thing. So she's going to make a check.
Okay, so make me that check, please.
Arcana check. I've lost Arcana. Knowledge Arcana. Right. Oh my god, that is a natural 20 plus 10 for a 30. Woo! I'm on fire tonight.
Okay, you begin to reach out with your magical senses, trying to get any kind of feedback. You do have the advantage of having the Eye of Avicen with you, which would also assist in this instance. But looking around, you don't see anything untoward. It is all fairly normal. There is no magical influence on this place. There is nothing you can see where maybe something's been concealed with magic. There's no secrets to be found. There's nothing. This is rock and dirt and blood.
Can Ogvar check for like tracks as well? So obviously, there's going to be some big tracks from a big dog thing. Is there like, see if there's any idea of like what sort of thing put them together, or if anything else was there, or if it just did it of its own volition?
Yeah, it's going to be a high DC check, seeing as this is a rocky area. This is a stone floor, but yeah, you can make me a survival check, please, or a tracking check, whichever you prefer.
Tracking, yeah, no problem.
Can I assist him?
Yeah, you can assist. So, if we do Otto first, if you want to roll me a survival check, please. And it'll be a DC
Sure.
15 to give him a +2 advantage.
11 on the dice, plus 10, 21.
Yep, okay, so Otto, Ogvar, sorry, you get a +2 advantage.
Okay, let's have a roll. I rolled a 19, plus my 14, plus 2.
A 19 plus 16. Yeah, I think that'll do it.
Okay. So you take a look around, and you can see prints from yourself, you can see prints from Esther, you can see prints from Elora, very obvious with this big blocky Cuban heel. You can see troll prints, and you can see some very, very strange looking prints. You would say the configuration of these prints would be like a dog's, this kind of 5-pad print. However, because there are no pads on this creature, it's bone. It's like bony impressions. It's this web of bones. So instead of looking like a splodge where a pad is pressed into the floor, it instead looks like a collection of lines and dots where clearly points of bone have touched the floor. But you can tell that this is probably the creatures just by the size of them and the way that it looks like it's been distributed. One thing you do notice, or remember rather at this point, is that there wasn't any dust. You would expect dust to have settled on the floor here. There is no dust. Obviously, with movement coming in and out of here, there hasn't been anything to leave an impression of dust. What, however, does give you a bit more of a clue aren't the tracks themselves. This is a stone cavern, essentially. And you can see that certain areas of this cavern have been propped up using wooden beams, a bit like you see in a mine. Some of these wooden beams have got nails sticking out to hold them together. And it is as you are almost bent over, intensely studying the floor, that out of the corner of your eye, you catch sight of a wispy piece of black fabric that is hooked into one of the nails, which is protruding ever so slightly from the wood. A closer inspection reveals that this fabric is very familiar to you. This black, wispy fabric clearly matches the fabric that Veyro's cloak was made of.
Okay.
Well, guys, I can't. There's nothing here, no residual magic here as such. Have you found anything?
I can see some prints, and I can see your prints. I can see Otto's prints. I can see Esther's prints. I can see my prints, and the hounds. And oh, hold on. And Alva will go and sort of just very gently, sort of just poke out a finger and just touch the fabric, like sort of like expecting something bad to happen, and then pick it up and go. I think your suspicions may have been correct. So bit of Mr. A bit of Mr. Veyro's attire here. I think we found our reanimator.
So the graveyard was his doing. It's not just coincidental then.
Well, that's nice to know in a way, isn't it? Because it's not going to happen again, hopefully.
Well, I think we dealt with him, didn't we? We've dealt with the dog thing. Put that down. Yeah. I don't think there's much else to be found here. Anybody? Should we just go back?
Yeah, I think so.
And Otto,
I'm sure we've got lots more work to do.
do you think that you could, you know what you did back at the well at Stonewell Hall? Do you think you could do the same for this? Do you think you could close this up?
I couldn't do it today, but if I were to sleep on it, I'm sure I could muster the power to do that still.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that before we leave. Okay, I'm good. I think I've seen quite enough. I guess we go back then. So, if everybody else is in approval, I'll just... Right, okay, well, I'll lead the way then. She's gonna march back out with a little bit more gusto, a little bit more confidence as she walks back out, because obviously they've walked in, so...
Yeah. Okay, as you re-emerge into what is now a very low sunlight. It's not set, but you can tell it's going down. It's starting to drop down. You leave the doorway of this crypt, and all of you make a spot check for me, please.
Not so good this time. That is a 7 plus 7 for 14.
14.
14 plus 11 for a 25.
25, nice.
And a 17 plus 18 for 35.
Nice. Okay, so as you exit, Elora, you don't notice this, but Otto, Esther, and Ogvar, as you take a step into this wild, tumpy grass, you look around at the carnage that Otto has wrought, body parts now strewn all over the graveyard. You can see one which Otto hasn't managed to toss as far, and it is what appears to be the rib cage of this hound. It seems to have held up fairly well, with all of the parts kind of dissolving back to their natural state. And this rib cage remains, and it is big. exactly like a dog, so it's obviously it's not a human rib cage, it's like a dog's rib cage, so you've got this kind of long, deep kind of U shape. And it is big, and clearly Otto hasn't managed to chuck it as far. Settled in the middle of this rib cage, where you'd usually find on a human the sternum, this is instead obviously made out of human spine. The vertebrae forming this kind of fused section in the middle. You find nestled probably a grapefruit-sized orb. And this orb catches the sunlight, and it shines a clear claret red, like blood.
Well, that looks like something we shouldn't just leave lying around.
No, that's either very good or very bad.
Or both.
Yes.
Did you want to do the honours?
Okay. So Ogvar will walk over to it and once again just stick out his index finger and just poke it.
Okay. Make me a will save, please.
Will save. Alright, it's going to be interesting. Ooh, could have gone worse. Will. That's 11 plus a 4 for a 15.
Okay. The DC was a 16 for reference.
Oh,
You were one off.
dear.
As you touch this orb, you lay a finger on it. The smallest contact you can imagine. Under your finger, you can feel it is smooth and perfect, like a perfect glass orb. It feels cool to the touch. And as you leave your finger on there for 1 second, for 2 seconds, the feeling of coolness turns from a nice chilled glass of water. It turns to a burning, freezing sensation as the orb at your touch liquefies. It turns into what appears to be this kind of molten glass. It still retains the texture, and it begins to get colder and colder as it crawls up your wrist.
Hold it.
As it settles around your wrist, it forms into a skin-tight red bangle. It's very beautiful.
Right.
It looks very delicate almost. It looks beautiful. It looks like it could be cracked with the smallest touch. But it burns, and this is over the top of your glove. This burns with a cold, cold pain until it gradually stops. And as you begin to basically look at it to try and figure out what's happened here, you begin to hear sounds. Very, very faint sounds. But you hear the sound of a woman weeping in distress. But it sounds like it's directly in your head, it's echoing around, and it feels like it's distorted as if being pushed through water. And it's so incredibly faint that you can barely hear it.
Okay.
It's very cold. It's very cold. It's getting a little better, but I'm not very happy about this. Is anybody else worried, or is it just me? It's not very good, I don't think. But Ogvar sort of stops mid-sentence and... Can you hear that?
Hey guys, what we're doing? God, these bones are everywhere.
Ogvar just raises his wrist and points.
Wait. It's a wrist.
Yes, but the thing on the wrist was in the rib cage of the dead hound, and now it's crawled up my arm, and now it's here. And
You found a... Oh, that's pretty. You found a bangle inside the ribcage.
No, it was an orb first, and then I touched it, and then it went like water, and then it came up my arm, and now it's a bangle.
Something crawled up your arm?
Yes.
Ogvar, as you have this conversation with Elora, the sound of crying stops. And it becomes increasingly apparent to you that as you are talking with others, as you are interacting with others, you can't hear this sound. But in those moments of silence, when you're not involved in discussion, when you're not talking to someone, when there isn't an external sound basically to distract your attention, you can constantly hear sounds of bereavement, of distress. And it changes from a woman crying to a child screaming faintly. And it cycles through a multitude of different voices and different emotions, but all of them negative. You also take 1d6 points worth of damage, which will be 4 points of necrotic damage.
Necrotic damage. Sheet tech. Okay. That 4 or 5 did you say there, sorry?
4. And it will become increasingly obvious to you over the coming days that this bangle is something not right. You hear these voices in the moments of silence, and every morning at dawn you will take 1d6 points of necrotic damage.
Okay.
Show me it, Ogvar. Let's have a look.
So Oliver just sort of sticks his hand out. And it's quite nice looking in an odd kind of way, but
Do you feel anything from it?
it was very, very cold. Very, very cold. But
Is it cold now?
doesn't feel too bad now, but
Okay.
what do you think?
She's going to take his hand into her palm. She's going to do another arcana check on this. She'd like to do another arcana check, see if she can figure out, because she has let me just check. She has a thing, doesn't she? I'm trying to think where it is. She's got like a just trying to find it on her sheet. If an item is magical, she can work out what its basic properties are, although she's unable to tell if it's cursed. So she wants to make an arcana check, sort of combined with her natural ability from as a Nephalian. To do this. Can she do that?
Yeah, you can.
She's not going to touch the item. She's just going to have Ogvar's hand in her hand, and she's going to have a look at it.
Yeah, so you take a look at it, and you can tell obviously this has got some sort of magical effect. You can see you can tell clearly that this is a magical item. And yeah, it appears with your eye as well. This item is a deep blood red within your vision. And you can tell that this has got some seriously negative aura about it. Clearly this is not bueno. You can't really tell what its effects are. I mean, Ogvar's told you, he said, can you hear the voices? You can't hear any voices. You're assuming that this is an effect of the item, which has now seemingly fused itself to his being. But as for its specific effects, you're not exactly able to tell. This isn't something you've seen before. You'd have probably seen quite a deal of magical items in your time on the ships. Casper was probably not always involved in the good side of things. Casper is a businessman, and there is money to be made in smuggling. There is money to be made in doing dodgy dealings, and almost certainly Casper has entrusted you with items of a more nefarious nature before. But this is not like anything you've ever seen. And as you inspect the item, you take Ogvar's wrist, you turn it, you flip it round, you angle it to the light. As you angle it so the light catches the underside of the wrist, you can see highlighted by the sun, by this light, not the symbol of the Skurstag, but another sigil, which is very reminiscent to the decorations on the... it is actually very reminiscent to Veyro's mask itself. It looks like a triangle with two kind of swirling, jagged outcroppings on the top, and you look at it and you twist it, and the more you look at it, the more you realise it resembles Veyro's mask. A very crude, like, line art style of Veyro's mask, but it resembles it.
I think while you might be expecting that, I think Otto might be looking around for a skull that he might have tossed around, and perhaps the largest femur that he can find, and he'll wander up over to Ogvar and Elora as they're having a look at this thing. I think I have a solution, if you don't mind just putting your wrist on the skull here. Give it a go. Imagine they'll get those things off.
Okay.
I definitely think this thing needs to come off. This is not good. I mean, I can see through my eye. This has got a pretty unpleasant aura to it. This is not a good item. Definitely magical.
Okay, yeah, you find a relatively flat skull. You find a relatively sturdy looking femur. What are you doing with those items?
Think hammer and anvil with the spangle being in between them. Don't mind your wrist. We can fix that. Don't worry.
Okay.
Just make sure it still stays attached to my arm. I don't mind a broken bone, but
Otto will kind of shrug with all four arms. I'll do my best.
It's right for you. You've got spare ones.
Esther, maybe if you've got some magic ready, just in case the worst happens, of course.
Okie dokie, dear. I don't like the look of this, but you do you.
Just checking. If his hand actually does come off, you can reattach it, right?
Yeah, probably, dearie. I might have to sew it back together first.
I don't think a mending spell's going to work.
No,
Ogvar just sticks out his arm and just sticks his hand across his eyes.
Okay, so you are going to swing at it.
Yes.
Okay, roll to hit, please.
Oh god.
Okay, right. Let's.
That one, he
let's have a
bonks
look.
you on the head instead.
Oh. Yeah, I
That's
think I can own that. Okay, let's see what we get. That's not bad. That's very good, I think. That's a 19 on the dice.
Okay.
Ooh.
And do excuse me, I'm just waiting for the bloody character sheet to...
He's looking very
Load.
pleased with himself, isn't he?
He is.
Made the mistake of loading the
He's
wrong one.
got a really big smashing grin on his face, look.
For those that can't see, yes, there is a big smashing grin.
What he doesn't know is the check requires 299.
Okay, so if I base this on, say, a claw attack, you'd be looking at plus 14, so 33 on the attack.
Okay, yeah. You hit it. You hit it with this femur bone. And there is a bright, peeling ring. This very pure sound, very much akin to when you strike jade, like pure, good quality jade. You hear this ringing sound. There is a flash of blood red light. Otto and Elora, you can both make me a reflex save, please. Ogvar, you are not going to get one.
Oh my god. a reflex save. I think I get +1 to saves as well. Oh, it's a 14 plus 1 from her cloak for a 15 for Elora.
Okay.
And I have an 8 plus a 7, so 15 also.
Okay,
No.
so both Otto and Elora take half damage, unless you've got something. Unless you've got something like the rogue ability to take none on half. If either of you have, I don't think you do.
No,
That would be
I
nice.
don't.
Okay, Ogvar, you are unfortunately going to take the full brunt of 2d8.
Hey.
So, Ogvar, you take 9 points of damage. Elora and Otto, you both take 4 points of damage, and this is again necrotic damage. As this blood
Nice.
red light shines out from the bangle, Ogvar, you feel your wrist be plunged into this icy coldness again, and you can actually see the skin on either side of the bangle turns kind of almost this kind of hypothermic blue-black before returning to its normal colour. As you take this, you feel the energy drain from you, and the bangle looks almost deeper in blood colour. Elora and Otto, you feel this effect as this blood red light rings out. You feel it hit your bodies, and you feel something sap away. It's not a lot, but it's enough to kind of make you think, whoa.
Ah, my eyes! What the? That's clearly not going to work. Ow. Oh, I've got a headache. I've got a headache. Oh.
Shudder.
I think this might be something. Well, we do know somebody who has some very dark magic items. I think this might be something for Genric.
Yes,
Yeah.
that might be a good idea.
If anything changes, Ogvar, you'll have to let us know. But for now, well, you're stuck with that piece of jewellery. Pretty though it is, I wouldn't want it.
You don't think I'm going to end up in the big pile with a little bit of red string around me saying don't touch?
Well, anything's possible. She's just going to shake her head and say, she's going to walk away and say, I don't know why people just touch things. I just don't get this.
I
Now
have a
we've got
thought.
that to sort out.
I think you said that there was some sort of marking on it. Is it at all similar to the markings we found in the crypt?
Elora will spin round and face Otto. No, not really. No, it's on the underside of it. There's a faint etching. It's a very simplistic drawing, but it looks a bit like this. And she's going to open. She's not going to open Ogvar. She's going to open
Beg your pardon?
Orland.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, can opener. She's going to open Orland, and she's going to have a rummage and pull out Vero's mask, and she's going to hold it up with thumb and forefingers, both of them, and sort of say, it's a bit like this. It looks a bit like this. Just a simple form of it.
Ogvar raises his wrist and shows him.
Yeah, you have to look at it really carefully. But yeah, look, she's going to hold it, sort of walk back and hold it sort of next to the side of the bangle and say, "Oh, do you see what I'm saying? It looks a bit like this."
Yeah. Maybe job for Genric then. Maybe you are right.
Yeah, I think it's better not to tamper with it. He's going to have to deal with whatever for now. If anything changes, you're going to have to tell us. And she's just going to drop the mask back in Orland, and then as she shuts Orland's flap, she's just going to pat him on his chainmail skirt and just say, "Thank you, Orland."
No worries.
I don't think there's anything further we can do here. I think we might as well get back. The sun's starting to drop. We need to decide whether we're just going to turn in for the night, or whether we're going to... You could just continue and look at the mansion tomorrow and, have a look at the rest of the place tomorrow.
So I will say you've probably got a good hour or two of daylight left. Like good daylight.
Okay, so Do you want to go and just try and reclaim more stuff now, save doing it tomorrow, until we lose the sunshine?
Well, I suppose so.
Light, should I say?
The boat's not going anywhere, and the big pile of stuff that needs to come up on deck's not going anywhere, so may as well add to it.
Do you need help getting that stuff up on deck? Do you want one of us to come and help you haul that up on deck? Because there's quite a bit of stuff already.
We may as well make a bigger pile and have a good go at it when we're all there.
Okay, alright. Everybody else good? If we just go back?
I might look like one, but I don't heal like a troll. That last fight took a bit out of me. Esther, have you by any chance got any healing magics left?
Oh, yes, dearie, I do indeed. What do you want? How bad are you feeling? On a scale of 1 to 10?
About a 2.
Okie dokie, give me 1 second, I've got to remember how to do this. And she pulls out what is clearly a book with a little kind of red cross on it, and she starts flicking through it, trying to clearly remember. And she says, oh yes, I need to channel this and do that. Clearly healing isn't a natural for Esther. She's primarily focused on the blade, and she's only become a cleric really quite recently, in her later years, so she's more accustomed to dealing the damage than fixing it.
Is this the manual for the healing belt?
No, it's not. So...
She downloaded it earlier on.
What else has she got? So she's got 4...
It's a PDF copy.
I would say if a belt needs a manual, then it probably needs a key, and that's a whole different kind of belt, right?
Oh, God.
Download the PDF and carry it around with you.
Okay, so 1 second. 183.
Ogvar leans across to Elora and says, well, if he did bludgeon my hand off, I think I'd probably bled out by now.
Yeah, probably. That's a very curious thing, that. She keeps looking at it. She keeps darting her eyes over to it because it is quite striking.
Okay, so... God, that was bad.
I don't know if it's deliberate either. I think it was probably an accidental one.
Elora takes a bow.
Oh, okay.
4, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so she's going to cast 2 rounds of Cure Light Wounds on you, Otto. Which is going to be 2d8 plus 4. So that's a 9 plus 4 for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of healing. How's that feeling, dearie? Are you still feeling a bit unwell, or are you feeling better?
Let's just say on your scale of 1 to 10, I'm feeling about a 4 now.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Which way do your scales work?
Yes, that's quite confusing, dearie.
It is. It's not normal.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let's go for... And she casts another Cure Light Wounds on you for 5 more points of healing. Still feeling bad?
Thank you. A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's...
We could
Is
have
that the polite way of saying, I
Big
want more help?
chunks out of him.
Just keep going. We can make a whole podcast out of just this. How are you feeling now?
Keep it coming.
Iffy. How are you feeling now? Slightly better.
We're almost at 4.5. Yeah.
I don't really have much else available to me, dearie. Is anyone else feeling a bit icky? Or is it just Otto?
I'm okay.
I'm tickety-boo, actually.
Okie dokie.
I'm so glad.
So she flips, you can see she flips to another page in her book, and she pops her hand on your shoulder, and she imbues you with 4 more points of healing, casting 4 Cure Minor Wounds, or Cure Light Wounds, Minor Wounds I think it is, for 4 points of healing. I'm very sorry, dearie, but I'm all gassed out. That's about the limit of it, I'm sorry.
It's better than I was, thank you. And I imagine about this point his other arms will sort of shrink and be reabsorbed into his body as that spell expires.
Yeah. Okay, so you're standing there back in your human normal form. Yeah?
Probably just in the troll form, because the extra pair of arms was
got you.
from a spell.
Got you, yeah. So you go back to the normal amount of arms. Yeah. Okay.
Feeling a bit better, thank you.
Yes, dear. Sorry, I'm more used to, dealing out the damage than, fixing it.
So how does
yes.
that belt of healing work then, Esther?
Okay, so Esther looks down at the belt. Oh, yes. Bother, I forgot. And 6, 7, 13, 20, 21 points of healing, Otto, as she activates all of the gems on the belt to give you 4d8's worth of healing.
There was that moment then when I mentioned the belt and it went as the tumbleweed blew past. But we got there.
That feels much better, thank you. Much appreciated.
Okay, so, yep, Esther heals you up and you get this nice kind of goldeny silver suffusion of light as some of your wounds knit back together, and yeah, you are healed.
Well, mostly. Still about a 7 out of 10, but I'm not complaining. Very happy now.
I'm really confused with this scale. It's really confusing.
That's Esther's fault, she started it.
Ogvar reaches into his backpack and pulls out the pot of Kyotum's ointment and sort of says, "Do you want? Do you want any?"
Let's hope there's just no more fights to worry about, shall we?
Okay. Put it back in.
Thank you for the thought, though, Ogvar.
With the Shamblers now dead for a second and hopefully last time, and having defeated the vitriolic varmint that crawled out of the crypt, it was time for a subterranean search to flush out any further mischief makers. Naught of note was discovered, save some unsavoury sights of blood and bone and some historical husks that had once housed many souls of saltstone. Ogvar accidentally acquired an obstinate and problematic piece of jewellery that was particularly uncooperative despite Otto's rather unsubtle attempts to persuade it otherwise. Hey, you made it this far, so lend us your ears for a moment longer if you will. Firstly, we are most humbled that you are enjoying our yarn, and the crew thank you from the bottom of their hearts for your patronage. Producing this podcast is incredibly hard work, and as such, if you would like to support us, there are a few ways in which you could really make a difference. Sharing links to friends and family helps to spread the word so others like you can find us, and in turn they too can enjoy the show. Equally helpful is leaving a 5-star review on Spotify and any other streaming services, which will help us immensely. Or, if you feel you could go that extra mile and contribute a few coppers to keep our creative juices flowing, you can hop on over to our Buy Me a Coffee page or drop us an email. We would all be immensely grateful for your support in any form. Lastly, we invite you to visit our website, where you will find information on our campaign from backstories to settings. Join our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter. All the links are in our episode bios. Don't forget to smash the subscribe and download buttons so you never miss the next episode. See you all again next week, folks.